Perhaps because his prized defense was breached by my void-eating collapse sword, Veldanava was visibly shaken. It was a splendid achievement. Although I was putting on a brave face, I had thought I might lose one-sidedly in a worst-case scenario, so I was satisfied just to have struck a blow. Wait, no. This wasn't the time to be satisfied. Veldanava's atmosphere had changed. It was like, how should I put it? Like he had resolved to cross the final line. This might be bad is what I thought, but, Even though Veldanava had the air of someone about to unleash a terrifying attack, he suddenly stopped. I wondered if something had happened, but I couldn't afford to let a chance like this slip away. Casting aside my hesitation, I slashed at Veldanava. However, at that moment, Tisk, looks like it's starting to move. With that warning from Guy, my attention was diverted from Veldanava. Ivarage had started moving again. It's really inconvenient not having Ciel-san around at times like this. On my own, I lack the vigilance to cover all directions. Still, this has become a hassle. In front of me is Veldanava. And behind me is Ivarage. Annoyingly, it seems it's still full of energy and hasn't rampaged nearly enough. Kayaha. That laughter echoed as a thought waved through the suspended world. However, I couldn't stop anymore. Or rather, I had no intention of stopping. Veldanava's attention was also directed toward Ivarage. Good fortune comes in waves. An opening much larger than I expected it appeared. I'm generally pretty lucky, but when it comes to combat, I have a personality that taps a stone bridge before crossing it. Unless I've set things up so I can absolutely win, I can't help but feel anxious. That's why usually, I never end up in situations where I have to leave things to luck. I prepare thoroughly to ensure that doesn't happen, and I have plans in place for unforeseen contingencies. So I'm really bad at battles like this one, where anxiety is constantly tagging along. Conversely, precisely because of this situation, being blessed with good luck felt incredibly satisfying, like it was soaking into my very being. That's why I attacked with everything I had, ignoring what was behind me. It's useless. My sword was caught with ease. Veldanava's expression said that this was the obvious result. But I didn't panic. I figured it would be blocked anyway. The real attack was coming next. Come back to me, Ciel. I clenched my right fist and punched Veldanava's left cheek with all my might. It felt harder than punching steel, and I figured the damage was probably 0. However, my objective was the retrieval of Ciel-san. The result hasn't come out yet. I have returned just now, master. Yes, I win. Sorry about that, Veldanava-kun. I can no longer lose. I was satisfied and rejoicing at Ciel-san's return, but I felt like my line of sight suddenly dropped. No, my universal perception was working as usual, but the position of my eyes swayed. I had finally been in my manly pre-reincarnation form, albeit slightly beautified, but before I knew it, I had reverted to the familiar beautiful girl model based on Shizu-san. Ciel-san. Displaying that form is absolutely out of the question. For some reason, I got scolded. I thought it was unreasonable, but I felt happy just being able to have this exchange. I realized it once again. I need Ciel-san. And now, I'm not afraid of anything. No matter who the opponent is, nothing can shake me. Well then. It's a pity I reverted from Satoru Mikami's form back to Rimuru's, but other than that, I'm in top shape. Moreover, luckily enough, Ivarage's target wasn't me, but Veldanava. That's a huge relief for me, but the one thing that bothered me was Ivarage's incomprehensible statement. I am Lucia, Lucia is me. Like, what on earth are you talking about? Surprisingly, it seems Ivarage obtained Lucia's memories from the memory orb Veldanava released, and has deluded itself into thinking it is Lucia. However, the reality is different. Ivarage is Ivarage, the incarnation of destruction. The proof is that while its appearance is Lucia and it likely possesses her memories, its inner nature remains that of Ivarage. It remains a child, faithful only to its own desires, and incapable of caring for others. I wonder what on earth Veldanava is thinking. My honest feeling is that every single one of them keeps doing unnecessary things. But well, I don't know if that's the reason, but seeing Ivarage charge in a straight line toward Veldanava was hilarious. The clash between the final bosses was a completely unexpected development. However, thanks to that, I can catch my breath. I'll have to deal with the winner, but that feels better than taking on both of them at the same time. Plus, if I'm lucky, I might be able to swoop in and reap the benefits while they fight. Still, there was one thing that concerned me. It was about Ciel-san. At the same time I punched Veldanava, I frantically activated Soul Gluttony with the intention of absorbing Ciel-san, who I assumed had been taken in. But for that strategy to succeed, a detailed analysis of the enemy was indispensable. I didn't know where Ciel-san was, nor what state she was in. There was no way I could have retrieved Ciel-san without first obtaining information on her location and condition. And yet, Ciel-san returned so easily. That is a joyous thing, but no matter how I look at it, I can't help but think it wasn't my doing. That is not true. Without you, master, I would still be captured. No, no. That's definitely a lie, right? I am offended. I have never once lied to you in the past, master. Really? I feel like I have memories of being deceived about various things, though. It is your imagination. Really? Well, whatever. It's fine. I feel like if I think too deeply about it, I lose, and I remembered there was a more important matter at hand right now. Benimaru. I had done everything I could and left the rest of the treatment to Rimuru. But it struck me that if it's Ciel-san, she might be able to handle it even more appropriately. I teleported to Benimaru's side. Whoa, Rimuru. Why are you here? Well, I was worried about Benimaru. Benimaru-chan's magic core has started moving and he's stable, but he just won't wake up yet. It seemed certain he was safe, which was a relief. Just as I relaxed, I felt a presence behind me. Yo, looking pretty relaxed there, aren't you? It was Guy. It seems he teleported here imitating me, but it looks like he can use it as a matter of course. I'm not relaxed. I just thought I'd wake Benimaru up while I have a chance. Thinking don't get in my way, I replied. Despite that, Guy kept pestering me. So? Is it okay to just leave Ivarage alone? That's my line. Guy-kun, couldn't you have stopped Ivarage instead of just watching? If he's going to push the trouble onto me, I wanted him to put in some effort too. Thinking that, I voiced a light complaint, but he retorted as if exasperated. Shut up. It looked like things would get even worse if I drew my sword in the middle of that. If that happened, were you going to take responsibility? No, I will not. So, this is probably the correct answer. Then, I guess it can't be helped. Yeah, it can't be helped. Guy and I nodded to each other. It's troubling because we actually look like we get along surprisingly well. Setting that aside, give me a moment. I excused myself, then had Ciel-san examine Benimaru. It is an excellent treatment. Indeed, the treatment looked perfect. Thanks to Rimuru, the magic core serving as his heart was beating strongly. Then why isn't Benimaru waking up? The power master poured into him was slightly too great, and it seems Benimaru's body structure is altering to adapt to it. Oh. So I was the cause. Now that she pointed it out, I realized Benimaru's race seemed to be changing too. He was a Kishin and a high-rank divine spirit of flame spirit Oni, but he had become a supreme divine spirit of flame dragon Oni. It's not like I made a mistake, so it's probably fine. I quietly averted my gaze and pretended I didn't see anything. Anyone can encounter unexpected situations. If Ciel-san had been there, this probably wouldn't have happened. After all, this was the first time I performed medical treatment on my own, so I just have to accept it for what it is. It might be because I added some unnecessary flourishes, but since the cause and effect relationship can be proven, that should be ignored. A change in race isn't a major problem, and since Benimaru is safe, I'll consider it a win. That's how I switched my mindset. So, shall we wake him up? Yes, please do. The moment I wished for it, Benimaru woke up. It was so surprisingly natural that I was more dumbfounded than happy. Rimuru-sama. Oh, glad you're safe. That's my line. Wait, why am I safe? Well, don't worry about the details. Well, I suppose so. Saying that, Benimaru suddenly stood up. Somehow, I feel incredibly good. I bet you do. I mean, your race has changed, and probably, your magicule count has increased to a surprising degree. But since Guy was right there, I didn't say anything unnecessary. I zipped my lip and stated the business at hand briefly. So, there's someone rampaging over there. Could you go join the others? I'm worried about whether Sean, Carrere, and the rest are being reckless. Leave it to me. Right now, I don't feel like I'd lose to anyone. Oh, how reliable, or so I thought. But my katana broke, didn't it? Benimaru muttered with a regretful expression. Despite that, he looked like he was about to dash off saying, well, it can't be helped. So I hurriedly stopped him. Well, wait a second, Benimaru-kun. What is it? What is it me? Heading toward a strong enemy without a weapon. I didn't intend to order you to commit suicide. I'll look for a substitute weapon, so just wait. I have one. I remembered I had stored several spare weapons in imaginary space. I was thinking of taking one out to give to Benimaru, but Rimuru pulled out a single staff first. It's something I was keeping for Veldanava-sama, but it's been sitting in the treasury forever. I couldn't take it out unless I was in this form, so I had totally forgotten about it. I see. The name was, let me see, yes, Arthur. But a staff doesn't really suit him, does it? Just as I thought that, the moment Benimaru took it in his hand, it transformed into a long sword. Oh, this is amazing, Benimaru exclaimed in surprise. Apparently, weapons created by Veldanava take the shape desired by their owner. I felt like I had lost, which was a bit frustrating. Moreover, Benimaru's broken sword Crimson Lotus crumbled away into dust, but strangely, only a marble-sized crimson orb remained. As if to accept it, a small hole opened at the base of the blade of Arthur, and the orb fitted into it perfectly. Oh, this is... It looks almost like Crimson Lotus has been regenerated. The appearance has become identical, but I suspect the power is on a completely different level. I bet. Because that thing, no matter how you look at it, is Genesis class. Ramrus sure was hiding something outrageous, but if she had forgotten about it, I suppose it can't be helped. Anyway, it seems she was entrusted with it over 2,000 years ago, and it was likely a story from before the reincarnations Ramrus has repeated so many times. Still. Arthur, huh? Did the labyrinth generate wealth because Ramrus possessed this? Or was it just a coincidence? Things like arcade cabinets drifted into Ramrus's labyrinth, so perhaps she had been unexpectedly receiving the blessings of Arthur. Either way, I want to investigate it, so I decided I would study it with Kurb once this battle is over. Well then, we'll have Kurb prepare a new sword after this battle ends, but for now, let's borrow that one. I shall gratefully borrow it, Ramrus-sama. No problem, no problem. Don't worry about it. Thanks to Ramrus's generosity, Benimaru's weapon was sorted. Now, there were no more worries. Alright then, I'm counting on you, Benimaru. Understood. No matter the enemy, I will defeat them. Benimaru smiled fearlessly. If he says that, I'd love to leave Veldanava or Ivarage to him, but surely that would be too harsh on a freshly revived Benimaru. I turned my gaze to Zijin, who had been protecting Benimaru. Zijin, you help him too. As you command. Zijin replied happily. They seem to be hanging in there over on that side, so if Benimaru and Zijin join as reinforcements, it should work out somehow. With that conviction, I saw Benimaru and Zijin off.